The Mayo experience.
That Mayo experience. That Mayo experience. That Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to another edition of the Dogger Pass podcast. This for UFC Singapore. Maia versus Askren. Cody Saftic.
What's
Coming
up?
off the heels of a good card for you. I was horrible. But a couple winners last week. Aiden Queskin, longtime listener of the show, took down the 100K throwdown, which was a cool 25K to first. Won by 30 points over second place, which is a runaway. So congratulations to him. Super happy for you, man.
For sure.
Like he wasn't even putting very much. Like I don't know how much he had invested, but like crazy ROI there. And then our boy Angel or Angel. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. You've been around forever. Angel D315. He took it down second in the triangle.
Yeah.
And took him 3K. So people were listening to you, which is usually the right idea.
You're saying they didn't go Chris Weidman, banged up 205 Weidman?
Yeah. People
Good.
Yeah, that is 100% the move is fade or shag fade is in full force right now. Maybe I'll I'll get back on track at some point, but it's been a couple rough weeks for sure. But congratulations to Aiden and Angel. I'm gonna go with Angel. Congratulations to you guys. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
just happy to see people in the community taking home the big bucks. They were helped out by Brett as well, who does really good projections and stuff. Everyone in the community knows him. Brett Apley, housekeeping notes. Oh, yes. So if you want to get into a draw, last week, all over the place.
$20 DK dollars.
All over the place. Last week, Eric Block, that's ERIK BLOCK. You are the winner of 20 DK bucks. Cody, why don't you tell the people how they can win 20 DK bucks this week?
Well, going back to once upon a time when Nate Marquardt punched out Damian Maia, everyone had this perception that Damian Maia was the worst striker in the UFC. Best grappler in the UFC, but just a terrible striker. He's come such strides that he definitely has a perceived striking advantage over one Ben Askren. Is Ben Askren the worst striker in the UFC? If not, in the comment section, who is a worse pure striker? I mean, weight classes are weight classes, but if it was a pure striking battle, does Ben Askren light anybody up at his weight class? At any weight class? So let me know who was the worst. And you know what? Darren Wynn let me down hard last week. For as good as the card was, I knew he'd go his wrestling. I just didn't realize once he physically got I couldn't hold him down for shit.
Overestimated his gas tank, I guess.
Yeah, but when the fight
he slowed down, and I thought maybe he edged it out. Like when it went to scorecards, I'm like, we may have this. He got the 6 takedowns, but I'm like, I did not feel great about it. Like I knew that it's in the way that they score fights these days. That is a very, very, it's a coin flip at that point when we go to the scorecards.
You know what it came down to me? It came down to the thing we talked about on the show, but the fact that it was in Boston. Like, did he win the fight? No, Darren Stewart won the fight. Did he win the MMA match, the wrestling match, the grappling contest? I thought he maybe did enough to win a 29-28 in Vegas or in Cali or anything like that. But in Boston, the crowd wanted to see a fight. Stewart heard him. Stewart won the fight. This is Japan. Stewart wins as well. So that's what I'm talking about there, though, is like when the fight was standing, fucker couldn't strike.
No.
There was a time where Jake Shields might have been a worse striker than old Ben Askren. But I don't know. He held his own against George in mostly a striking contest, and he's cut now. So anyways, in the comment section, who is the worst straight-up striker in the UFC if it's not Ben Askren? And if it is Ben Askren, let me know.
The answer is probably Ryan McDonald.
Ryan McDonald, fuck.
Right?
That's definitely a good answer.
I should probably win 20 DK bucks. I need it after last week's performance. Anyway, let's get a better performance going, at least for me. You did great last week. We got Ben Askren taking on Damian Maia in the main event. Ben Askren is 8,500. Minus 185 favorite. Damian Maia, 7,700 and plus 160. We obviously already alluded to it right there. It's just like, neither one of these guys is really a great striker at all. So my big thing here is like, what are we gonna see when these guys get in there? Is Ben Askren gonna a la Colby Covington be able to take him down and just stay out of trouble, stay in guard, just don't get tangled up? But you're just always running risks. And Ben
Colby
Askren
had to put in some work before that.
Ben Askren does not like to get himself into too many risks usually until he charges forward and eats a flying knee. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I don't know. Or it's good. It could turn into like the sloppiest stand-up striking match I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know. Maybe you have a better read on this. Like I'm actually considering Maia, but based on what happened last week. But let's hear what you have to say first on this one. To be honest.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's just one of the strangest matchups you've seen in recent memory because you've got a 41-year-old straight up specialist. Like, why is Damian Maia still effective in the UFC in 2019 at the age of 41? Because he's a straight up specialist and that his grappling is so far leaps and bounds better than most of the division that at least he can get the fight into his wheelhouse with his grappling. But he's not likely going to be able to use his grappling here. As for Askren, he doesn't got a whole lot. He's 5 years old as well here. He's no spring chicken. And he's got really seemingly no other skill set other than his wrestling, which it's leaps and bounds better than the majority of the rest of the division, so he gets by on it. But now you got a matchup where both guys...
their skill sets offset each other.
Yeah, they offset each other. So now if you do get a striking battle, you're not only just getting a striking battle between two guys that are not really known for striking. It's a 35-year-old and a 41-year-old for 25 minutes in a striking battle. And that's just pretty crazy. Askren, at least he's got a willingness to come forward. He'll pop out his jab, but it's all just like trying to close distance. That's how it's always been throughout his career. His ground and pound, not known as big ground and pound, but again, he's got some volume, and if you don't defend yourself, he'll keep going. Does he finish Damian Maia? I do not think so. If Damian wins this fight, does he knock out Ben Askren? No. But could he submit Ben Askren? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ben Askren's a world-class wrestler. His grappling is really good. But you go back and you look at, and I know they're just fucking around, but just go back and look at a video of Ben Askren versus Marcelo Garcia. It's just a straight-up grappling match. But you get a real indication here where it's like, Askren's a wrestler. He's not a grappler. If you can take his back, you can armbar him, you can catch him in a guillotine. You have all these different things at your disposal. But you got to get him down. This is a grappling match that starts on the ground. Do you think Marcelo Garcia would ever take down Ben Askren if they were standing? No. And I think Damian Maia is going to have the same problem. Here's another interesting thing with Damian Maia. These are his losses in the UFC, right? Nate Marquardt didn't take him down. Mark Munoz didn't take him down. Jake Shields, he got him down once. The Rory fight, he got him down. But then Woodley, Maia, and Usman, right? All of his wins, Anthony Martin took him down. Lyman Good took him down. Masvidal, Condit, Brown, Nelson, Magny, LaFleur, Yakovlev, Fitch, Story, Dunyan Kim. Every single win he's had in the UFC, he's scored a takedown in order to secure the victory. If he's not,
because he needs to get top position,
because that's his entire game.
Yep.
So right off the get-go, he's going to be in new territory. In that if he doesn't get a takedown, he's up shit's creek. And listen, Darren Stewart actually took down Win.
But then what's the damage on
so could he take down Ben Askren?
Yeah.
Maybe. But I don't think he's going to take him down in the first 10, 15 minutes.
But does he need to? He may win this on the feet.
So
right?
now we've discussed the fact that let's not even go to the grappling right away. Grappling advantage slightly. No, grappling advantage towards Maia. Wrestling advantage towards Askren. Let's take it off the table. Yeah, Damian Maia's a better striker than Ben Askren, for sure. But Damian Maia, what I'm noticing, is 10 minutes into the fight, 15 minutes into the fight, that's all he can handle. He is now built for 3-round fights specifically. He's built for 3-round fights that he can win the first 2 rounds and then run away. And this has happened a lot of times, most notably his last time out against Rocco Martin, where it's a 10-8, he's running away. But do you remember the Ryan LaFleur fight, the Matt Brown fight before he gets the submission? It's all fights where the later it goes, he crumbles apart, and now he's just trying to avoid. And that's where he's
fishing
going to
for
get in
legs
trouble.
on the ground.
Yes.
Pulling his best
so
Ronnie Yaya impression.
And so Colby Covington goes in the game plan of, I'll stand with this guy. And by the way, at the time, you know what everybody was saying? Holy shit, Damian Maia might have a striking advantage over Colby Covington. Colby cannot strike. And in the first round, he easily outstrikes Colby. But in the second, third, fourth, fifth round, when Colby just keeps coming forward and then eventually Colby starts touching him up, then Colby takes him down. Do you know why? Because Damian Maia, 15 minutes into the fight, tired, is not Damian Maia 5 minutes into the fight, fresh. Especially when they start to get slippery. So honestly, I think Damian Maia gives a good account of himself the first 10 minutes. I think slowly Askren starts to bring it into his wheelhouse. And then eventually he gets the takedown. Eventually he uses the ground and pound. And then the last but not least is like Ben Askren's actually a thing in Indonesia. He's actually a thing in Singapore. He was the ONE FC champion, but he also taught at EVLOEV MMA for a long time. They used to give this guy boatloads of cash. He wasn't allowed to leave Singapore with more than $9,000 cash on him, so he had to bring friends with him. They would all take $9,000. Like, he's going to get a little bit of favoritism, I think. So what could be a close fight that goes to decision. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. I think Askren does enough to nudge it out. The 185, I'm not interested in that. The value is definitely on Damian Maia, plus 160.
I think the value...
He's an underdog in a grappling match, but it might not be a grappling match. You know, that's the thing.
I think the value would be if this was a 3-round fight.
Damian Maia?
5 rounds hurts The 3 round, if it was
completely
like if it was plus 160, and you're like,
Completely
maybe he can grease out the first 2 rounds, and then Askren's not really a potent finisher. If he does, it's like a submission. He's not going to submit Damian Maia. So like maybe he's just able to hold on for round 3, right? Is that would be the idea? But you're right. When you brought up like 5-round narrative there, Maia would love to be on top position. He doesn't get tired in those positions when he's there.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's when he
can
has to strike, he has to maintain range. It's stressful for him. For whatever reason, he's a grappler. So using those striking, the muscles for striking, the fast twitch and whatever, that tires this guy out. I'm with you now. Askren probably by decision. He may lose round 1. Maybe you wait after you see round 1 before you take a plunge into this one. It could be a good live betting opportunity. Let's move on down the card. We have Michael Johnson taking on Stevie Ray. Michael Johnson 9,300 minus 310 favorite. Stevie Ray 6,900 plus 255. Michael Johnson is the second biggest favorite on the card, and I don't know how I could ever get to like trusting this guy at this price. What's your take here?
Yeah, well, Michael Johnson coming back to 155 pounds has got me a little more intrigued because he's one of those guys that, like, I don't know why he dropped down in the first place. He was a very successful contender at 155. He had lost to Khabib. He had knocked out Dustin Poirier. But, again, this guy was a fringe contender at 155 pounds. But, again, when you are a fringe contender and you realize, shit, I just got smoked out by Khabib. There's limitations here. And you decide, I'm just going to jump down a weight class and go down, that's not the answer. I'm not in favor of that. And I think he was one of those guys that is a classic example of the weight class drop didn't help him. He's known for murderous power punching at 55. At 45, he lost a little bit of zip. Also, we always talk about his collegiate wrestling background, but it's like he's tired and he's having bad weight cuts. He botched his weight cut against Feely. He missed weight against Lobov. And then his last time out against, and then he makes 146 against Emmett. He missed weight against Artem Lobov. So it's just like 45 probably wasn't agreeing with him. 155 pounds, he should be better off. But there's no doubt that he's long in the tooth, man. And there's no doubt at 33 years old, the wars that he's had in the gym with the Blackzilians, the wars that he's had just in his career in general.
Seen the video of them, like him and Jason, like guys go at it hard at that. Back in the day,
Nicky Holtzkin,
they were knocking
comes
dudes
in
out
for
and like
rounds.
posting it to YouTube, and like everyone's like, "Ooh, that's kind of fucked up."
Oh, dude, he does the chicken dance and the video cuts out. It's like, well, what happened after he did that? Did he get hit again? Because if he did, he went out. If they stopped it altogether, then maybe he just only walked away from that sparring session with a minor concussion. But all the same, it's like I didn't really understand how he was going so hard. And then I think dropping down in a weight class, that hurts. So now he's at 145. Guy's got a great chin, by the way. He's at 145. He's winning 2 rounds to nothing against Josh Emmett. He actually looks pretty decent against Josh Emmett. And he got bombed on, man. He got bombed on hard. So, yeah, there's questions about where his chin's at. There's question about where his head's at coming back up to 55. There's questions that if this division even left him to begin with. Like, he was a fringe contender when he left. Do you think this guy's a fringe contender now? No fucking chance. He's a journeyman now, right? He's a journeyman that's here to give us some fun fights. Why this is the co-main event, I couldn't tell you. Both guys are coming off losses, and both guys are actually really
One of these guys
kind
big
of on the
in
verge of getting
Singapore
cut.
somehow, and we just don't
I don't know.
about
They're
it?
both
Like,
on the verge of getting cut, realistically. Like, neither guy has really given a great account of themselves recently, and neither guy is really in any type of contention.
Yeah.
But this is what you've got. So now how does Stevie Ray match up in this particular spot? He's actually probably a better grappler. Unfortunately, similar to the first fight, he doesn't get the wrestling to take Michael Johnson down. And I know we were talking about Michael Johnson's a wrestler and he's getting taken down, but like, yeah, he's getting taken down against Darren Elkins. He's getting taken down against Andre Feely. He's getting taken down against guys that know how to wrestle. I don't think Stevie Ray is going to be able to get him down. Stevie Ray is a decent striker. However, at the same time, he just doesn't throw enough punches. Michael Johnson, when he's at his best, he's a volume puncher. He's a guy that can just stack
styling
it up.
on Barboza.
Yeah, and it's a crazy when you look at his wins. It's nuts. It's like styles on Barboza for 15 and then plows out Dustin Poirier like it's nothing. His fight with Justin Gaethje, I mean, he stung the guy, right? His fight with Khabib, you're very adamant that Khabib was not stung, but the very best argument that you can make there is at least he hit Khabib with a punch, right? A good punch. Michael Johnson at his best is good. It's just I think we are clearly on the same wavelength here that he's probably not at his best anymore. But I think the matchup with Stevie Ray's not going to throw enough punches with him standing to really fluster him. This should be his time to shine. He should give a better account of himself. But that's all should. And 310 is. You know, he's going to look good.
Yeah.
He's going to blast
You got to
Stevie
feel
Ray.
good to lock that in.
Yeah, and Stevie Ray got just coming off a knockout loss to Leo Santos, and a couple fights prior to that, Felder just pounds him out on the ground. Like, as far as DraftKings goes, yeah, Michael Johnson for $9,300 could knock out Stevie Ray and score very well for you. But the 310 on the money line is just a very bad price. So if you've got money left up over, and you know you're looking at one of those bigger plays, yeah, Johnson is the second biggest favorite on the card. But as far as DraftKings goes, like at least he has a historical upside. And back at 55 is where his power has been traditionally at its best. So at least he's got that going for him. But the pickle here will be Johnson. Money line will be a pass.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you there. So let's move on. We've got Beneil Dariush taking on Frank Camacho. Beneil Dariush, 8,400, a minus 160 favorite. Frank Camacho is 7,800 and plus 140. So here's how this one kind of plays out in my mind, at least. Beneil Dariush is more skilled basically at everything. He's got that really good body kick. He's got that, you know, the typical King's MMA kind of kickboxing. Everything's super tight, technical, everything like that. He's a very well-known grappler and he's very well respected in the grappling realm. That's all well too. He has all of his skills are at if you were making a video game, all of his skills are way higher, except for that one big one, and that's durability. And that's where Frank Camacho shines in the absolute war, in the trenches. And his grappling, correct me if I'm wrong.
He's black belt.
He's a black belt.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think, but you know, there's levels to it. Beneil Dariush, maybe he takes him down, and we're just like, oh, there's a black belt and there's a black belt. Like certain guys, you know, just a much higher degree. But I can't. If this becomes a 3-round war, I just don't trust Beneil Dariush to last. So Camacho is a high-paced, high-volume kind of fighter that I'm interested in rostering on DraftKings at 7,800, and I'm interested in. Haven't made any bets yet, but interested in playing him at plus 140 as well. What will be you?
Yeah, if you're looking for dogs with a chance, Camacho's got a chance. If you're looking for punt plays on DraftKings, Camacho's got a chance. I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. Beneil Dariush is better everywhere. He is a better striker. He is more technical. The power I'm going to give to Camacho, but as far as a straight-up striking battle, he is the more technical striker. His wrestling, way better than Camacho's. His grappling, they're both black belts, but he's a better black belt than Frank Camacho. He's better all over. His cardio, better. His ring IQ, leaps and bounds better. But yeah, dude, it's that durability. He's had durability issues his entire career. This is funny enough, but looking at his UFC debut, or sorry, it's not his debut, the very first episode of Bookie Beatdown, the very first show we ever did, when they went to Abu Dhabi, that's the first dog we ever hit, him versus Ranzi Nijum. He couldn't take a punch. Nijum went through and blasted him. I looked at it today. He was a minus 260 favorite over Ranzi Nijum. He got caught. He got knocked the hell out. He went on a great run after that. And the Barbosa fight, it's a flying knee. It happens. But it's what happens after that flying knee. Because that's one of the dirtiest KOs you'll ever see. Like, that was a life-changing KO. And this is a very smart man. This is a very guy. He analyzes the fights as they're going down. You give him an interview afterwards. It's not like I'd have to look back. It's just like, this is exactly how it played out, Joe. He's very entwined with he's in tune with what's going on. Him getting knocked out certainly was a reflective moment for him. His next fight against Evan Dunham, he's up 2 rounds. He falls right apart in the 3rd round. Durability issues, got steamed. He took a lot of damage in that fight, notably a lot of damage. His next fight against Alexander Hernandez, he's a minus 400 favorite. He got forearm chopped right 47 seconds or something and got knocked out. So now the best of Beneil Dariush is gone. That Drew Dober fight, his last fight, the 1st round, he got stung 2 or 3 times in the 1st round. He got dropped in the 2nd round, and he pulls it together. I think we can definitely agree that he has durability issues. If Camacho makes this a brawl with him, he could catch him. He could hurt him. He could bang him up. But what I'm going to give him, and it's why I'm going to take him at 160 in the 8,400, is that he's got phenomenal ring IQ. And Frank Camacho does not. Frank Camacho welcomes a brawl, right? Just like you're saying. He wants to throw them hammers. He wants to get in your face. But what Dariush showed against Dober is that he can still take the punches. He can get stung and he can come back. But in that second round, he goes to double leg takedown. He gets Dober down. He wrecks Dober on the ground. And Dober, he goes for an arm bar. Dober explodes and gets back up. And he hits him with a single leg right away. In the first round, he couldn't get him. But in the second round, he made his adjustments. He is a smart guy. He's going to have probably some trouble in the early goings here with Camacho because Camacho's a banger. But Camacho will start to fatigue. This guy is going to have a great game plan. I think he's going to put it together. He could submit Camacho later in the fight. At the very least, I think he could get to mount and just ground and pound him, positionally outclass him. The 8,400 on DraftKings, I think that there's room for he could score over 8,400. The minus 160, it's a good price tag considering people are off the Beneil Dariush bandwagon.
Oh, well. As from my opener,
people are off the bandwagon.
people are off the bandwagon.
I completely agree. But with Camacho, he's a fun, exciting fighter. You give him fights because he's going to put on a fight of the night performance. He might win. He might lose. It might be a sloppy fight, but he's going to have problems. But remember when he fought Damian Brown? In the first round, Damian Brown took him down twice and easily won the round. In the second and third round, Damian Brown got into a brawl with him and ended up losing the fight by split decision. I feel like if that fight is gonna recreate itself here. Beneil Dariush will probably use his wrestling, take him down in the first round. Only in the second and third round where Damian Brown was like, fuck it, let's go for a fight of the night banger in my hometown. I don't think that's gonna happen here. I think Dariush will just stick to the game plan and keep taking him down. So this could be one of the ones that my guy gets knocked out in the first round. I think, shit, I saw that coming and I went against it. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here.
He could get Saftic like Rafael Fiziev. That means.
Yeah, who might get it again here? I mean, that's brutal. But
you've been hot recently.
I'm gonna stick with Dariush, and I fully do see the warning signs.
Camacho's just such a high scorer typically. When he wins on DraftKings, he scores pretty big.
His wins in the UFC are Nick Hine and Damian Brown. Brown got cut, and I think just recently retired after his loss in Japan. And Nick Hine retired right away. He retired right after. He was
always kind of like half in, half out.
Well, yeah, and he had never been knocked out before, and he showed up in bad shape, got knocked out, and was like, you know what, this is not for me. His losses are Jing Liang Li, Drew Dober, and Jeff Neal, all guys that are not even fringe contenders. They're like mid-packers. This is the toughest guy he's fought in the UFC, I would say.
Yeah, fair enough.
Whereas Beneil Dariush, I think there's a very strong argument this is the worst guy he's fought in the UFC in quite some time. Not ever, but in quite some time. So I'm going to try to just think to myself, there are levels to this, and Beneil's just got to not get hit with one of them, which is easier said than done in MMA, but let's do it, buddy.
You may have talked me off another Weidman there, Cody.
Who knows? Or he's the DK punt
player. Or I'm
gonna
blame you when we come back next week. I'm like,
I
was gonna bet Camacho, and you screwed me out of all this. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. Let's move on though. We've got Cyril Gane taking on Dante MAYLES. It's really hard to say. Gane is 9,200 minus 360 favorites. Mine is like 300 last night, and then it got steamed, and rightfully so. I'm sure you're going to talk about that in a second. And Dante MAYLES is 7,000 plus 300. Who do you have here, Cody?
Yeah, I could see Dante
Obviously,
MAYLES.
you probably have Gane, but is the price too steep?
Yeah, it's a pretty steep price considering... I mean, listen, they're heavyweights. And in Gagne's case, we are sold on him. We think that he could be that next big thing, but he's 4-0. Like, he's still got some work to do. Did he get that first round submission for his last time out? Yeah, he did. But did he look phenomenal in that fight? No, he's still a work in progress. The big concern, I think, is that if the fight was to get out of the first round, we've seen him outside of the first round one time against Dixka and TKO, but you just never know. Whereas, at least with Mays, he's got more experience. He's been around a little bit longer. He's fought not on the UFC, but he's fought Contender Series 3 times, I believe. He's got a little bit of experience. He's got more professional fights, not in Muay Thai, but in MMA. Maybe he could pose some problems. Price tag at 300, good price tag. Price tag at 360, starting to get away from you.
Yeah.
But as far as the $9,200 goes, like, yeah, this is heavyweight fighting, and Mays doesn't have a great track record of durability either. I mean, his first fight, I think, on Contender Series, he got finished by Alan Crowder by virtue of Crowder just lasted more than the first round and then was able to get on top of him and take him out. I think what we saw with Gane is that The biggest takeaway I had of that last fight is that he's a Muay Thai stylist. He's supposed to be like Francis Ngannou. Doesn't have the same power, but he's a great striker, a very mobile, athletic heavyweight. To see him look so fluid on the ground and get the submission is just like, hey.
Oh, there's more wrinkles to this game.
This guy's got more shit in his
dude, this
pocket.
guy looks like the real deal.
I think so.
But it's
totally
heavyweight,
think
so Mayles could just throw a massive bungalow and knock him out. And I guess he heavyweight with power is always live in terms of like a DraftKings absolute pure punt play. But yeah, I think Gane rolls here. I think this is the first special heavyweight that we've had since Ngannou came in.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree. I think that he's going to get the win. I think 9,200 is a good price tag. I think 360 is where it starts to borderline risky.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say with Mays is that he does have variables. He is 6'6". He has an 81.5-inch reach, and he has a judo background. So maybe he's able to keep this fight standing long enough to make something happen. But also, since he lost his last fight, that fight to Alan Crowder, he beat Kamaru Usman's brother, Muhammad Usman. That's a big win for him. And then he won 2 more fights on the Contender Series. Last one was actually a decent little knockout. He's 4-0 since. He's only 27 years old. It looks like he's figuring it out. He's starting to get going. He's a 4-fight winning streak, 27, 6'6". Unfortunately, they have done him no favors here.
Yeah, because with Gane just being 4-0.
Yeah. So
it's
Gane,
just like, don't be fooled by that. This guy,
he's like 41 and
this
2
guy,
in Muay Thai.
He's got that, but he looks so much more refined than some guy. He doesn't look like Greg Hardy out there using a freaking inhaler. We'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And we'll get a couple other little quick pieces off. I think we're all on the same page.
First round finish.
First round finish, Cyril Gane. He's going to be super chalky, and I think rightfully so. It's somebody that you probably just play. Michael Johnson will be the obvious pivot in this type of situation, but and maybe Michael Johnson outscores him, but it's hard. It feels like Gane just absolutely steamrolls, and it's a lot safer. Not safer, but safer. You can probably lock in those 100 points very easy with him. Maybe Johnson and Ray go 3 rounds, and it's a tepid striking affair, Anyway, let's move on. We have Muslim SALIKHOV taking on Loriana Staropoli. SALIKHOV is 8,600 minus 175 favorite. Staropoli 7,600 and plus 155. 2 strikers. I don't know anything about Staropoli's ground game, and that's what you really need to exploit SALIKHOV. Otherwise, the Sultan of spin will put you to bed. So that's kind of where I'm leaning here early on in the week. What about you?
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to take a shot on the dog here with Loriana Staropoli. Could be a bad move, but Muslim SALIKHOV, he's got that power. He's got that, the big overhand. He's got the big hook. He can spin. He can catch you with something, but I'm not seeing enough beyond that. It comes from a Sanshao and a Kung Fu base. Is a striker, fought a lot of cans before he came to the UFC. And then it's important to note, in his fights in the UFC, the Alex Garcia fight, sure, he exploits him with the ground game. But beyond that, he's kind of getting tired. His cardio's not great. He beats Ricky Rainey, he catches him. He beats Nordine Taleb, he catches him. Staropoli is he's not even really on the same level as Taleb in Ricky Rainey. Or at least at the very best argument, you could say he's not any leaps and bounds better than those guys. He's around the same level, and he is a striker, so he probably comes out here and gets caught, but he's making improvements, man. He's doing the right things. He's trending in the right direction, and I think it's the punch volume. It's not even the punches landed. It's just he's got that Leonard Garcia effect where, it looks like shit's going on. I looked at both of his fights in the UFC, and 100%. They give him Hector Aldana his first fight, right? But he lands 97 strikes on Hector Aldana. He doesn't got big power. He doesn't put away Aldana, but it's just a lot of punch output. It's that fight with Thiago Alves. He actually gets outstruck by Thiago Alves, 58-54. Yet most people had him winning that fight 30-27 or 29-20 at the very least. So how come is it that he gets outstruck, but then at the same time wins all 3 rounds? So you look at the striking stats. In the first round, he only lands 23% of his strikes, 13 of 55. He threw 55 strikes versus 24 for Thiago Alves. In the second round, he threw 68 strikes, only landed 19. He threw 60. The third round, Paul, he now throws 79 strikes. First round, 55. Second round, 68. Third round, 79. He's 26 years old. He's training at Shoot to Box with Charles Oliveira. He does not slow down. He just keeps coming. We didn't think he was nobody when he took that fight against Aldana. In fact, he's like near even money against Hector Aldana, the worst fighter in the UFC. But he wins. He looks okay. Now he fights Thiago Alves. He went to Brazil to fight Thiago Alves. He's fighting him in his own backyard. He puts it on him. He's getting better. This king of kung fu, he's 35 years old. He's got one punch power, but I don't think he's got anything that's going to go 2-3 rounds. And that's where I think he's going to get in trouble here. I think once this fight does go 2-3 rounds, assuming he doesn't catch him early, which Staropoli's got one career loss, it's by knockout, so he could catch him early. But still, he was like 22 at the time, right? I have to feel that he's making improvements, and I have to feel that after a bad first round, he could do enough to win second and third. So again, I pick a lot of favorites recently, and a lot of the favorites have been winning. And this is another card where if I am going to take Askren, he's the favorite. Michael Johnson's, he's 310, right? He's the favorite. I did go with DARIUSH. I'm going with GANE. Muslim SALIKHOV 175. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
No,
so this is either a straight up pass, I'm not touching it, or I'm dogger passing. And because I feel like this week, let's bring some balls back to the game, I'll just take the dog. Fuck it. So Laureano
Staropoli.
Laureano Staropoli.
Argentinian.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to make him my dog play.
He's got to be the best Argentinian MMA fighter of all time because I can't even think of another.
Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Yeah. Isn't he like half and half?
I think he's born in Argentina, and then lives in Brazil, trains in Brazil. This kid's the same thing. He lives and trains in Brazil.
Yeah.
He's just from Argentina. They put him on the Argentinian card. He looked okay. I read into a bunch of stuff on him, and if you go on his like social media, see him working mitts a lot, like he's getting better. He's improving. And my one thing where I'm saying about SALIKHOV is that at 35, he's just got that one shot. He's just got that dynamic flair. And if it doesn't work out for him, he's there to get outworked. I'd love if the kid did take him down, but because I don't have any faith in him to actually do that, I'll need him to just flat out outwork this guy and hope for a close decision win.
All right. Yeah, so Ponzinibbio would obviously be the best Argentinian. Anyway, we got Ronda Markos taking on Ashley Yoder. Ronda Markos, 8,300 minus 155 favorite. Ashley Yoder, 7,900 plus 135. Two people who rely on their grappling, not exactly great strikers. Like, I don't have very much interest in this fight. If Ronda Markos has an advantage in the grappling department, she has the ability to steamroll people. We have seen that in the past. I don't think she has that advantage here, so it's probably a stay away from me. I don't care enough about this fight to really get too deep into it. Do you have like a hot take here, or can we move on? Yeah,
I would pass as far as DraftKings go because I just don't think either woman's going to score up to what they're currently being priced at. But the minus 155 on Markos is very intriguing. Yeah, they're both grapplers, like you said. Similar to the main event, Yoder might be a bit of a better grappler, but Markos is a better wrestler. The difference is that Yoder doesn't have any striking, and Markos has got some decent striking. She spent a lot of time on it. She's got an okay right hand. She's got some power in it, especially for the division. And whereas I don't think she's an elite level striker, she maybe look like one here if this fight with Ashley Yoder just stays standing the whole time. I think she stuffs the takedowns. I think she beats her in the striking exchanges. I think she wins the fight. And here's a dirty little, it's not a greasy theory because it's Paul's theory. Paul's theories are never that greasy. But you haven't done this in a long time. She lost to Jessica Panay. She beat Ashlyn Daly. She lost to Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She beat Jocelyn Jones-Lybarger. She lost to Courtney Casey. She beat Carla Esparza. She lost to Alexa Grasso. She beat Juliana Lima. She lost to Nina Ansarov. She beat Angela Hill. She lost to Claudia Gadelha. Motherfucker, she rotates all the time. She's never lost 2 in a row. No. And this is her time to get back in that win column.
She's the Anthony Njokuani of...
Brother, it's just...
it's Vince... It was Anthony Njokuani against Vince Pichel.
Yeah, that's how you first come up with it. Yeah. Pichel's been your boy ever since.
Njokuani just, always...
It's a win-loss,
back and forth.
She's never lost. She's never lost 2 straight. This is how she fights her career. This is a favorable matchup for her. Her losses, by the way, are Claudia Gadelha, Nina Ansarov, Alexa Grasso on a split, Karolina. Like, they're all title contenders, former title contenders.
So 155 maybe value is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think moneyline's value. I think DraftKings, you want no part of it, but I think that's a decent little moneyline play, and you can make it better by taking the decision prop, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, we got ya boy. Maybe not your boy anymore. Rafael Fiziev, he's 8,900, minus 200 favor. He's taking on Alex White, who's 7,300 plus 170. Take it away, Cody.
Yeah, Fiziev was touted as an awesome striker. I believed he was an awesome striker, and he ate Magomed Mustafayev's spinning heel kick to the face. And even though he got his arms up, that was all she wrote. Yeah, listen, was that a freak move that happens? Like, yeah, I mean, Mustafayev is capable of doing it, but I didn't see it coming. I thought he would outstrike this guy, maybe get taken down a few times, but ultimately make him work, and could have been a decent dog play because he was the underdog against Mustafayev, and maybe I got caught dog chasing. Now we got him as the favorite, and he's a 2-1 favorite, so I don't got that same level of faith in him. Does he eat up Alex White all day in a striking match? Absolutely, and I think that's what's going to happen here. But Alex White's gritty, man. Remember, what was that? There's like an MMA junkie story on him before his UFC debut that he like drank gasoline as a kid, and like that's why he's got a lisp because he had like speech impediment, vocal cord burn. It's like, dude, the guy's a survivor. He's a grinder. His whole career, he goes for it. Is he a great striker? No. Is he a great wrestler? No. He's got decent size for the weight class, and he pushes a pace. That's what he's got. Those are not the best skills to lean back on, but in a matchup with a guy who's kind of maybe a one-dimensional striker. With those odds, could he make this a grinding affair? Could he get him up against the cage? Could he peel him to the ground? Absolutely. Do I expect him to get caught and knocked down the first round? Not fully, but the chance is there. So that's my worries. If you play White, if you chase that 7,300 on DraftKings, you're hoping for a dirty decision, probably a hold him down and win 2 of the 3 rounds decision. It's not going to score a whole lot, even though he's only $7,300. And the flip side to that is if he does lose, he's not going to score you anything. He's going to get caught. Now, Fiziev, really important to note here that when you talk about this guy striking and his credentials, you can look about all the numbers and his wins and his losses, his KO wins, the titles that he's won, all that. But remember Mike Davis, right? A couple weeks ago, Mike Davis takes the fight on short notice, damn near kills a guy in the octagon. And we talked about, I said, this guy's going to be ready because he's at those Tiger Muay Thai tryouts and he looked good. You can watch the episodes online and he looks like he's leaps and above the other guys trying out. Fiziev is the coach, like he's the one teaching these guys these skills. Like he's well respected in Thailand for his striking acumen. The striking is there. But also being at Tiger Muay Thai is that he's got all the surroundings to hopefully work on his ground game. I mean, he's full-time there. All he does is train. They've got bodies coming in day and all the time because, it's a destination camp. And I know George Hickman and them have spent a lot of time working on his wrestling specifically. So if his wrestling's good enough just to keep the fight standing with White long enough to catch him, then Fiziev's a good play on DraftKings, $8,900 because he could get you that first or second round finish. But gut instinct kicks in. I got a bad feeling. I would pass as far as the DraftKings goes, and the minus 200 is just too much. Give me 160, 165, 170. Could be talked into it, but at this point, it's just not worth it.
It's early in the week. These lines move a lot as the week goes on, so
White's also been off for
you don't
a
have to
while.
bet it now at minus 200. Like if you feel you lean that way, you watch weigh-ins, you get the sense of the week. There's always interviews and other different things that pop up. So yeah, I don't, unless you're getting those early lines that people are betting, you can afford to wait a lot of the times. You don't have to lock in these plays so early. Some people are locking them in at shittier lines than they would have got if they just waited more and got more information.
Yeah, and waiting for the weigh-ins is actually important here because
I thought it wasn't last week with Duran win. And again, like I always talk about how I really like watching the weigh-ins. I'm like, well, I know that Duran win's going to be way shorter, way smaller. Like, what am I going to learn from that? I'm going to learn that the guy misses weight by 3 pounds. So it's like leads you to believe, like, does he have an injury? Sure. Something.
No, that helped. That helped seeing that because it was like, ooh, if
I
really liked him,
I had already
don't
bet
like
it. I went against, you
went against your own thing.
Yeah, so then I ended up I thought the line was going to go the other way, and then he missed weight.
Yeah.
And then I would have got a better line on my losing wager if I had just waited, like I usually do. It was just bad move by me.
Fiziev is flying from Thailand to Singapore. It's a nothing flight whatsoever, whereas Alex White's coming from the Midwest. And at 6 foot, does struggle enough to make 55. So, yeah, definitely keep your eye on the weigh-in.
We got Movsar EVLOEV taking on Enrique Barzola. EVLOEV 8,700 and a minus 175 favorite. Barzola is 7,500 and plus 155. This is a very interesting matchup because you would probably think that like EVLOEV has the advantage in technical grappling, but like Barzola is super like strong, physically strong for 145 pounds. EVLOEV has fought at 135 before, so like the size is gonna really matter in this. But like it could just end up on the feet. On the feet, I'm not sure who has the advantage. I think I told myself last fight that I wouldn't play Barzola anymore on DraftKings, and I don't think I want to play him on DraftKings here just because he has to have a perceived grappling advantage over his opponent. I don't think he has that here. Do you have a hard stand on this fight? Do you have a guy that you're locking in?
No. I think EVLOEV is my pick. I think this is the first time since Barzola's debut. I don't know why the hell I picked against him in his debut. He fought Horacio Gutierrez. It was the tough finale. The fuck was I thinking there? But since then, I've been all over this guy because his tenacity, and it's not that his wrestling's any good. It's just his strength, man. He just keeps on you. He's so goddamn strong, and he's relentless. He just plows you to the ground. But that only works against limited opposition, right? Gabriel Benitez, Matt Bissett, Brendan Davis. You can toss those guys around. But when it doesn't work, his striking is god-awful. And here's the other problem, Paul. You know why you and I have kind of grown to have a soft spot for Barzola? Because at his best, he's a DraftKings machine. Mm-hmm. You know why he's a DraftKings machine? Because he scores 9 or 10 takedowns. You know why he
hasn't done that in a long time now, though.
And you know why he scores 9 or 10 takedowns? Well, yeah, but also because he has no ability to hold the guy down once he does take him down.
Yeah.
He takes them down, they just quite simply stand right back up.
Yep.
Yeah, he takes them right back down. They stand right back up. Yeah, he takes them right back down. And then maybe he can win the fight based on that. But his last 2 fights, Kevin Aguilar and Bobby Moffett, now he's taking on guys that don't fit that description of scrubs. Now he's taking on guys that do know how to wrestle. And now he's struggling. So now he has to fall back on his striking. And it's herky-jerky, man. It's just not there. There's not enough of it. It's not clean. He's got a little bit of power, but he's not even turning his hips into it. It's mostly like arm punches, arm kicks. So even though he's throwing heavy into it, it's just not enough to KO anybody, I don't believe. And the wrestling, he's struggling against these guys that are now on increasing level. EVLOEV, he's a better wrestler. Mm-hmm. He's a better grappler. And whereas we've now discussed the fact now in 2 fights, you've got the main event with Ben Askren and Damian Maia, where if wrestling negates each other, you got a shit striking match. Who knows how it's going to go? We've got Markos versus Yoder. The grappling negates itself. You might have a shit striking match. I think that one favors Markos. This could be the exact same thing. I think the grappling nullifies itself. Barbosa's not going to take down EVLOEV, and if he does, he's going to get the Russian will get right back up. EVLOEV, it's going to be hard to take down Barbosa. If he does take him down.
Especially because he just gives up so much strength, I think.
Yeah, but if he does take him down, he's going to ride him. And so there's the advantage for him there. And then if it stays striking, he's a better striker than him as well. So I feel like he's got 2 paths to victory, but both of those paths lead him to a decision victory. So for 8,700 on DraftKings, I don't want it. But for the minus 175 on Moneyline, like I'm tempted there. And I'm tempted to try to get a better value on it by, again, hitting it by decision.
And that's another one that, like, maybe at the weigh-ins you'll see the 2 of them next to each other, and people will just bet on the bigger looking fighter, and you could get a better price later in the week. I'm not sure how that one will move. Anyway, let's move on to the heavyweight division. This one was good. This whole card was going to just be loaded. Greg Hardy was supposed to be on this, and then he was rescheduled to this, right? But
this is a good card. I don't understand the co-main event. I don't know. It's
but there's a bunch of
but it's a good fight.
There's a bunch of big boys on this, and the next one is another one. You know, we got Sergey Pavlovich taking on Maurice Greene. Pavlovich is 9,000 minus 235 favorite. Maurice Greene, who's been the gift who keeps on giving, just being like disrespected by the books every single fight and pulling it off. He's 7,200 and plus 195. Like Pavlovich looks like super powerful, but like real herky jerky and stiff. And that Maurice Greene has been underrated by so many people so many times here. He's super big, super tall, and long. And that could pose some problems for Sergey. I don't feel great about betting Sergey in this spot. Like, I do see holes in this guy's game. It's whether I go to Greene. That's where the value is for me at this point in the week. What about you?
Yeah. A good thing I'm not UFC matchmaker, because if I was UFC matchmaker, Sergey Pavlovich would be taking on Cyril Gane, and I'd get me some Mays versus Maurice Greene. 6'6", 6'7", buddy. Sign me up for that. And Gane, we'd have a real conversation on our hands. Like, is he ready for this? Is he as good as we think we are? Like, that'd be fun to talk about. But instead, you get this.
But they take the safe route.
They take the safe route. Let's try to build up Gagne. And for this, I mean, Pavlovich, they paid big money to bring this guy over. They paid so much money to bring this guy over. They said, you're going to fight Alistair Overeem in your first fight because you're going to have to earn said paycheck. And he was getting some love from people too. I'm not sure why. You know, just because he hasn't had the same level of experience, and Overeem catches him. His next fight, he looked, I thought, infinitely better, but he finished it really fast. I'm worrying that if his gas tank lets out, Maurice Greene gives him trouble. But this guy's a Greco-Roman wrestler. He has a wrestling base, and that's how he's going to beat Greene. Greene's 6'7", doesn't have takedown defense. He's a good striker. He used to fight for Glory. Is able to stay on the outside and pot shot you. But you got to take this guy down. Remember when he was on The Ultimate Fighter?
Will he, though?
Well, when
because all we've really seen from him, at least in his UFC tenure, is just him just bombing, throwing heavies. You know what I mean?
Throwing heavies. Yeah, I agree. And maybe similar to Darren Wynn, I know there was a couple of people saying, well, why do you expect him to wrestle when he hasn't wrestled yet in his career? But it says, yeah, because he can strike with the guys that he's been striking at this point against. But against Darren Stewart, he's got to be smart enough to know he can. And here, it's not that he's got to be smart enough to know he can't strike with Maurice Greene. He can strike with Maurice Greene. Yeah. Only for a little bit. Only just do it for a minute or two at most. But then you got to get this guy to the ground. And where I think if Greene was able to stuff a couple takedowns, tire out this big muscle-bound Russian, then all of a sudden Pavlovich might be thinking, shit, it's costing too much energy to take him down. I'm just going to stand with him. And then maybe there's a path from there. But going back to when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, remember he's smoking on the show, and he's drinking, he was a character on the show. But he fought Juan Espino, who I'm not high on in the slightest bit, but has a little bit of grappling. Espino took him down and choked him out. His debut in the UFC against Michel Batista wrestled in the Olympics. He had a couple wins over Daniel Cormier in wrestling. The guy knew how to wrestle. He tosses him down like nothing, but he gets the triangle choke. And then Jeff Hughes and Albini, now the guy really... Hughes, that was the worst fight he could have put on. And Albini, I mean, he catches him. Listen, everybody's off Albini. Let's get that much straight. They're not exploiting that deficiency on the ground, whereas I think that's what Pavlovich would do. 235, it's a big price tag for middling heavyweights, and that's exactly what we got here is middling heavyweights. But I'm not sold on Maurice Greene. 2-fight winning streak, that's all well and good.
I'm not
sold
sold on him by any means.
Yeah,
there's a reason why they're the 8th fight down or 3rd fight in on the on UFC Singapore. Exclusively on Fight Pass there, bud.
Yeah.
Or probably ESPN Plus too.
Yeah. And I think there's another thing to be said for Pavlovich is that he was groomed by fighting good, well-matched opponents in Russia, comes over undefeated to the UFC. He's gone 1-1 since now he's in the UFC, but he's 27 years old, Paul. He's a looks like a freak. I want to say a freak athlete because he does move kind of stiff, but I mean, he's built like a specimen. He's 27 getting better, and he has that wrestling base. Greene's a 33-year-old smoking kickboxer. I can't in good conscience bet him. I really can't. So I would go Pavlovich. And because he could just steamroll and put it on him, maybe he gets that finish. Maybe he gets a submission, but
maybe he'll change.
I don't want him on DK.
We'll see
There's
what
better
happens.
options. The better options are pay up for Michael Johnson or... who are we talking?
Maybe you can probably get both in there though.
I would take Johnson or Gagne.
You'd have to like a big underdog, and it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Well, if you took Staropoli, 7,600. That's not a big underdog. No.
Yeah, let's move on. We got Loma Lookboonme. Sounds like a creative player. Taking on Alexandra ALBU. Lookboonme. I'm gonna call her Loma. 8,200 and a minus 125 favorite. ALBU is 8,000 and plus 105. What's your take here?
Yeah, her name is Loma Lookboonme. Her real name is Konklak Sufsara. So it doesn't really matter what you call her. We'll go with Loma here.
I've already forgotten what her actual name is.
Yeah, well, the thing with when you're in Thailand is you take on the gym that you're fighting for.
Yeah. So
this,
she trains out of Lookboonme?
Lookboonme Muay Thai. Only she's at Tiger Muay Thai. She's been at Tiger Muay Thai for the last couple of years, I believe, and that's where she does her training camp. So, like, technically her name should be Loma Tiger Muay Thai. As ridiculous as that sounds, there's fighters in Thailand that go by those names. Tiger Muay Thai, 100%. Anyways, there's a lot to like here, but there's also a lot where she's 3-1 and probably shouldn't be in the UFC at this current point. She's the first Thai fighter to fight in the UFC. That's something. I have reserves as to whether she'd be fighting in the UFC if the fight wasn't in Singapore, or if this is just kind of one of those local things to draw some local attention. She's from Isla in Thailand, which is like the poor region. A lot of great fighters come out of there, and apparently she's a pretty solid Thai fighter. She's not a world champion Thai fighter. So whereas she has over 100 Muay Thai fights apparently, it's not as if she was the best Muay Thai fighter available and then just decided, hey, I'm the Michael Jordan of Muay Thai, I'm coming over to MMA. It's just she's a good Muay Thai fighter who made the transition to MMA. Did she make the transition to MMA because she was no good at Muay Thai? Probably not. Probably because of the money. But again, it's not something that you necessarily see a ton of. She's only 23 years old, but in Thailand, because you fight at such a young age, you accrued over 100 fights by the time you're 23 years old. So there's some questions there. The other thing is that I think it's easy to fall into, if you just read her credentials, that she's a great Muay Thai fighter. From everything I've looked at, she's a great clinch fighter. She's fucking awesome in the clinch, in that she'll just absolutely pulverize you with knees and elbows. But at range, she throws a lot of just one strike at a time, blind kicks. Her kicks get caught a lot. There's not a whole lot there. Then she clinches up with you and bombs on you. That's a good style for Muay Thai because that's how a lot of Thai stars fight. But in MMA, it's like it depends who you're trying to clinch up against. Because if you clinch up with somebody who's going to take you down, you're going to be in trouble. ALBU's infinitely stronger than this girl. So what we have here is we got to fight against Loma versus ALBU. Loma's a much better striker. She is. In the sense that she's had a lot more experience. You got a girl here with 100 plus Thai fights and 3-1 versus a girl who's just quite simply 3-1, right? The experience definitely goes to Loma. The hometown, all that advantage, whatever, it's going to Loma. The clinch, it's going to Loma. But the strength is going to go towards ALBU, and ALBU's a karate black belt. So it's just a different striking style. When you look at any of ALBU's stuff, dude, it doesn't look great. I'm sure you've looked at it. It doesn't look great.
I still have night terrors of rostering her against Emily Whitmire and just getting absolutely smashed. So it's going to be tough to get me to trust her ever again.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Emily Whitmire is a wrestler with a grappling pedigree, and so she took ALBU down and submitted her, whereas Loma doesn't have that wrestling nor that grappling pedigree, so it's a different fight altogether. But when ALBU strikes, it's always coming forward. She fights Kaylee Curran, she just bullies her straight forward the whole time. I expect Loma to be a better opposition than Kaylee Curran. I expect Loma to give up a better fight than Kaylee Curran, but she's a natural 105-pound fighter. She's fought her entire career at atomweight. Now that atomweight doesn't exist in the UFC, she's going up 10 pounds to take on a girl who could probably make atomweight as well, but is ridiculously strong at 115 to begin with. So she's giving up that strength where clinch is her best thing. She needs to be stronger than you in the clinch, her best part of her game. She's giving up. So she does have striking advantages, but honestly, your best pass is to pass here. The only reason I'm suggesting ALBU is because I need another dog. So because I'm going to take Staropoli, I'm going to take ALBU, and those will be my two dog plays because as we're about
because
to get
you're not going to take you're not taking PESSOA.
No.
You have Jeff Hughes taking on Rafael PESSOA. Hughes 8,800 minus 250 favorite. PESSOA is 7,400 and plus 210. Kind of two like mobile heavyweights who don't really have very much pop, and clearly you're taking Jeff Hughes in this spot.
Yeah, I'm taking Jeff Hughes, and like where I like he's getting the quick turnaround it's not like he didn't take no damage against Todd Duffy. Like Todd Duffy teed off on him hard, and then now he's back in there like 6 weeks later. Like okay, that I could do without.
That was not like the Todd Duffy though.
No, was Todd Duffy. That is what Todd Duffy does.
I mean,
bombs on you and quits.
What we thought Todd Duffy was going to look like after like 4 or 5 years. I guess we should have been ready to see that.
I don't know. Breaking down that fight, I took Jeff Hughes because I thought Todd Duffy's going to come in here. He's going to bomb on him.
I know.
Hughes can take a punch. And
what I'm saying is that his physique it looked like he had not taken his strength and conditioning nearly as seriously as he did, say, like 4 or 5 years ago before like governing powers came into place. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's because he had hair you were throwing off.
We could do a side by side. We're not going to because I don't want to put anybody on blast.
Listen,
I'm just saying.
He fought like classic Todd Duffy.
I'm just
and he
saying.
dropped him, and he tried to put it on him the way Todd Duffy has done to many people, and Jeff Hughes survived. Jeff Hughes has durability, and so Rafael PESSOA, who's now going to rely on the same thing, I'm going to hope to catch this guy. Yeah, Hughes can take a punch, man. He's a training partner with Stipe Miocic. He knows the routine. He knows what it's all about. He's a mobile heavyweight. He's a classic example, I think, of octagon jitters. Because, I mean, he's a former LFA champ. He had fought 5 rounds. He has a good gas tank. He's a credible fighter. And he looked awful against Maurice Greene, a guy who he had previously already defeated. Looked awful. Did not look like himself. And then against Todd Duffy, You didn't fully get to see what he's capable of because Duffy wanted to weigh out and fake the eye poke. But Hughes would have given a good account of himself. And I think that he was way more comfortable in that fight. He was feeling himself, and the confidence is going. It's a moral victory for him because he knows Duffy quit. It's a moral victory for him. He's coming in here, and I think he's just going to keep on that same path. I think he gets the win over PESSOA. PESSOA, yeah, he'll throw the big strike standing. He'll come at you. I've got questions about his gas tank, and I've got questions about what his plan B is if he doesn't knock you out quick, and I just don't think he catches Jeff Hughes quick, so Jeff Hughes leans on him. Jeff Hughes takes him down. Jeff Hughes, one thing though, is for a heavyweight, we saw last week with Tanner Boser, just because you're 250 pounds doesn't mean you can actually hit very hard, right? Yeah, you're heavyweight, but some heavyweights don't got no pow-pow. Jeff Hughes kind of seems like one of those heavyweights with no pow-pow. He could finish PESSOA, but PESSOA's going to have to get tired and basically pack it in, kind of like Duffy was going to do. Or else Jeff Hughes would be one of those low-scoring heavyweights. Give me Jeff Hughes 8,400, 8,600. I might be able to go for him because he's going to be low ownership. When we talked about the high-priced guys here, GANE, oh my God, he's going to be huge price. Michael Johnson, geez, he's probably going to be pretty high price. So you can benefit from taking a Pavlovich.
Highly owned, you mean?
Sorry, yeah, he's going to be highly owned. You can go for a Sergey Pavlovich or a Jeff Hughes. They're going to be lesser owned. They're a little bit cheaper. But if they go out and they...
I don't think Pavlovich will be a $9,000 heavyweight. He won't be low owned.
I think people are looking to fade. I got a new segment we're going to do at the end of the show. We're going to do Pogi Rob's parlay, but we're also going to do is who's the probable apple pie shitter of the week, where we take a plus 200 or a minus 200 and over and say who's the likely to shit in the pie. Because again, I can pick a lot of favorites here, but I'm seeing apple pie shitters straight up this board.
Dude, yeah, we're in
up and down.
We're in. What time does this card even start in the morning?
5 a.m.
Yeah.
I hope that's not main card.
So Saturday, So Saturday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I mean, this probably feels more like I wake up for
EVLOEV BARZOLA. I'll let you know how the other fights go, dog.
No, but I think it's on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
So if it's on Fight Pass, then I just wake up for EVLOEV versus BARZOLA, and then in between any of the fights, I just kind of catch up on the other fights.
Yeah.
I don't see myself setting my alarm for 5 a.m. I'll see you all at 8 a.m. That sounds about fair. And some of these Fight Pass cards go really fast though. So.
Yeah.
We could be already at 3 hours into the card. We could be at GANE coming up type of thing if there's lots of finishes.
You saying that though, you saying the sleep in, just watch the fights after the fact, just made me think of this for whatever reason. But I think Hughes versus PESSOA could be a decent live bet opportunity too. PESSOA he's going to come out in the first round.
The problem with these early fights,
bet him after the first round.
These early fights, a lot of the times you can't bet them live.
Well, it depends who your book. Yeah, you're right. Depends who your book.
Pretty much all these books, especially the live streams, they don't let you until main card or when things are actually on TV.
Did you hear about this UFC?
So if these first three fights are not on TV anywhere in the world, if they're only on streaming platforms, they won't be live betting opportunities for it.
Yeah, because somebody in the arena is like, oh, he's getting fucked up. I'll just
it's when BT Sport and Britain come in, because then you actually have sports books who have access to a world, a top end type of feed. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, yeah. So to run it down for my boy Rob, we're gonna take Ben Askren, Michael Johnson, Beneil Dariush, Cyril Gagné, Laureano Staropoli, Ronda Markos. You know what? Lord hates a coward. I always say that. I'm going to take Alex White. But your best bet is to just clear pass on this one, guys. Movsar Evloev, Sergey Pavlovich. I'm going to take ALBU. That'll be 3 dogs. And then Jeff Hughes. The likely apple pie shitter is either Pavlovich at 235.
Oh, over 200.
Over 200. It's going to be him. FIZIEV is 200, and I know I'm taking the dog on that one, so he could be the apple pie share. But he's not going to be a my pie. I'm trying to think who could I play that's going to screw me.
I think Pavlovich is the guy that I think has the high probability of apple pie shitting.
He's the probable apple pie shitter of the week.
Yeah. Greg Hardy. Getting a top 10 opponent now in Russia.
He's got to get some of the respect that he's lost. How much does people respect this guy in the first place? So as far as me giving any respect to somebody this is a ballsy move, man. and he's the one that apparently wanted it. He's the one that suggested it. Like, that's all well and good. Listen, he did not look good his last time out. We talked about the fact that
I thought he looked like more refined. Like he looked more patient.
His footwork
more
looked better.
patient.
His
He wasn't
cardio
just
looked
charging
better.
forward and going crazy. Like
You're
I think it was
totally
a
right.
nice little growth
Yeah,
in his
you're right
game.
there.
But
You're
then
right.
using the inhaler, man, like.
Yeah, the other
There's
thing
a but he's new to the sport, so it's like he was able to do it if he was playing football. Maybe that's where his mind went. Is that when he was
you're
playing?
not cheating, you're not trying.
It's like more. I'm not even all that mad at him. It's like Dean Thomas is literally in that corner. It's just like I'm sure Dean's like I've never done this before. Stop. Let's not do it. But whatever. We saw how the fight played out. He only got a no contest in it, but the UFC is judging that basically as a win. But they are throwing him to the wolves right now. In an interesting
well, if he just doesn't take the
matchup.
puffer, he's up 2 rounds anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fight that he was cruising in, but what we discussed on the show, Sasoli had never been knocked out. So Hardy's usual bum rush game plan might not work. Geez, I suggested pass on Greg Hardy because if Sasoli sticks around for a round or two, he might completely fall apart. And he didn't fall apart, right? The team had a plan. Hey, dude, we know we've been telling you go bum rush
Here's
this
your
guy and
puffer.
knock him out. Hey, who was the last person you saw do that? Little trivia, little old school trivia.
I don't know.
Remember that like Houston, Strikeforce Houston, right?
Houston Alexander.
No, it was in Houston. It was Strikeforce card. It was a Strikeforce card in Houston. And King Mo, well, the whole card was using it, these oxygen things, right? And they're like, it was just like, holy shit, dude, what was that? And it's just like, oh, condensed CO2. And it's just like, or oxygen based. And it's just like, well, why would you use that? It's like, oh, it opens up the airways. Can't do it. It's illegal. But listen, if he asks the commissioner, but I'll give you this is what irks me about it. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And most people don't. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt on this, whatever. But here's what fucking irks me, is when he says afterwards, I'll put to this point, I'm on his side. It's when he says, hey man, it just makes me breathe just like you. It's not an advantage. I just take it. Now I can breathe just like a regular person. No, motherfucker, that's your handicap. You're fucking 6'6", 260 pounds. The Lord blessed you with many gifts, okay? You know what he didn't bless you with? Great lung capacity. That's your fucking handicap. Do you think I can just, oh, dude, this guy's got arms are 6 inches longer than mine. I should just have the same length of mine. Now we got the same. No! That's his advantage. That's your handicap. You can't breathe. I'm sorry, but that's on you. And if Michael Bisping couldn't see out of one eye, that was his handicap. And if this guy Frank Trigg almost drowned as a kid, so now whenever you put a submission on him, he taps right away. That's his handicap. You guys got handicaps, okay?
We're like a couple.
You can't do this shit, and all of a sudden it's just like TRT, right? It's just like, oh, dude, Dan Henderson and Vitor Belfort, they're broken down. That's their handicap, as they've been in all these wars. Once you gave them TRT, they had the body of a 26-year-old with the mind of a savvy veteran and the skills of a savvy veteran. It was cheating. When he used the puffer, whatever it did, it was cheating. And so in that regard, he cheated. And he's got a really bad history, dude. So if he steps up and fights Volkov, imagine he beats Volkov, which I don't see happening right now, but he's a heavyweight with a massive amount of power.
Yeah. I think it's like he's definitely live to win. He should be the underdog. It'll be interesting. I don't know if they've released a line on that. It'll be interesting when they do to see how it gets lined and what moves. Like I think, yeah, he's totally live. It's like a heavyweight he's live. Doesn't have crazy power. What he does have is like good footwork and speed. But
who doesn't have crazy power?
Volkov isn't like the most.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about Hardy. I was that's pretty much all he's got.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is that he doesn't exactly have crazy power or anything. He has speed and athleticism, but it's like you're taking on a former NFL lineman who did look a little bit more flabby, but I think he's doing that for cardio. He's not carrying as much muscle.
Yeah.
He's around the right guys. He's in the right place. They cherry-picked this guy, Volkov. That's who they perceive to be the weakest, I guess, heavyweight in the top 10.
Well, obviously the guys around him, his coaching staff, they must see something there. But here's a question I actually asked our little buddy A-Rap, right? I said, let's say you took a freak athlete, Tyreek Hill, right? He's cut from the NFL, which I'm sure they might be looking at anyways. But let's say this guy says, fuck it, I'm going to come to MMA. How long would it take Tyreek Hill to acquire the necessary skills to go out and beat Kamaru Usman?
Tyreek Hill isn't very smart, so I would say quite a bit longer than Greg Hardy.
What I was saying, what I was getting at is a freak athlete, the greatest athlete on the planet, at 170 or 185, it's going to take them years to get the type of skills to beat Kamaru Usman or to beat Israel Adesanya or to beat Yoel Romero, whatever these top guys in those way. Years. if Greg Hardy fought Stipe Miocic tomorrow, yeah, he's the underdog. He's fighting the champ.
But he's always gotten
There's
out.
there's a legitimate chance.
Yeah, the power is always an out.
Yeah, Stipe's not exactly got a cast iron chin, and Greg Hardy is a giant, very mobile and fast heavyweight who hits like a truck. Could he not, on a theoretical level, go out there and punch him out?
Of course.
Yeah, he could. That's the thing with heavyweight is that you don't need the same experience. So whereas he is not on Volkov's level, Volkov's he's a fight for the Bellator heavyweight championship. He's been around forever. He's got like almost 40 pro fights. He's fought in everybody, and he's looking good lately. But yeah, could Greg Hardy win this fight? Because they're heavyweights. It's
in
a different.
Russia. Do you have like
a different
any
weight
greasy
class.
theories about this? It seems like a Cody Saftic greasy theory type of situation.
A friend of mine fought in Russia, and he said the biggest thing that he had to overcome was the Russians were trying to fuck with him actively the whole time. They started off by leaving him at the airport for 3 hours. Oh, sorry. Oh, the language barrier. Your ride's over here. He said once he got to the hotel, they then would get people to like come knock on the door for different things. The fire alarm gets pulled at 3 a.m. He's got to get up. He's got to get out of his room. The next day, they tell him, you got a bunch of media stuff to do. You got to do some interviews before the fight. They put him in a car with a chauffeur and had him drive around St. Petersburg for 6 hours. There was no media interviews. And eventually the driver's like, oh, I can't find it. Sorry, it got canceled. Bring him back to the hotel room. Didn't provide him the right food. Didn't provide him anything. He's like, the weight cut was super hard. Basically, all the cards are stacked against me. And then the second I got stung, they just stopped the fight. Like, they didn't let me fight on. They were just like, oh, he's hurt, and stopped the fight. He's like, I would never. He goes, the only reason I took it was they were paying pretty good. And that's what they're known for, is that if you're a UFC veteran.
We're going to make this a real pain in the ass.
You know how many UFC veterans go to
you.
Russia to die?
Yeah.
Almost all of them. Because it's like, you're used to getting paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in the UFC. You get cut, you think LFA. If you knew what LFA paid, you'd be fucking shocked. So you go to Russia and you take the big payday and you get your ass kicked. Hardy's going to Russia. He's getting a decent payday. The cards will definitely be stacked against him. But what he's got going for him is he's a multimillionaire out of a reputable team. Like, he doesn't got to play the average shit that my buddy had to play. He doesn't got to play the average shit that a prelim guy has to play. Like, he's the headliner. He might not even be at the same hotel as them. Like, he's going to have advantages. But it's a quick turnaround, and I don't know. Listen, I mean, if you know his story, it's hard to say I'm rooting for Greg Hardy. So, yeah, I hope Volkov fucks him up. But if there's a chance to make some money here, we can't overlook it, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to ultimately offer to the viewers is let's hit some winners, right? So let's do it this weekend. 11-fight offering, little less. But we got a Bellator card.
I think there was something that we were supposed to touch more on.
Rory McDonald, underdog money?
No. We talked about earlier in the episode. I should have made a note. I think I put a little box to write a note, but then I didn't make a note.
Oh, yeah. You were like at the end of the No, I think it was Greg Hardy, though.
Was it Greg Hardy?
I think so.
I hope so.
Right. Okay, well, that about wraps it up then.
That wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Cody Saftic, for breaking down the fights with me as always. For Cody, I'm Paul saying goodbye and good luck.
Mayo experience! Experience!